Maybe futures is gonna push and retest the trend. It's pretty close. Dollar's back towards 103.60. Yields are still up on the day too. Just weird, super grindy price action. We got correlation almost back to where it was in July. Leaned a little bit on the carry trade today. End of day saw the forward yields on volatility turn down a bit. I don't think that's accurate. This actually ended up closing the day a little bit lower. I don't think VIX futures moved down as hard as, yeah. So VIX futures down a little bit less than VIX, which is kind of what starts to turn that around. 3-month VIX also not down as much. USD JPY still pushing up today. Yeah, I could see us retesting that in the overnight. I think we have some international data tonight. We've got PMI flash out of Germany, EU, Britain. They got a 15-year German bond auction, some EU auctions, 3 and 6 month. And then tomorrow morning, 15 minutes after market open, we have S&P composite flash reports for PMI. Well, we have PMI manufacturing services. And we have a 5-year note auction tomorrow at 1. Anyway, or slightly higher high today. Still lower than we opened on Monday by about like $3, but not much. We're still above Vega neutral, so I wouldn't expect any put selling to continue to drive VIX down, but there's still a lot of call selling going on. If that call selling somehow provides upside liquidity, we'll squeeze those calls off, even though they're largely above 4,900. I don't think it'll be that hard to bridge the gap, but it may be kind of hard without some actual delta. So it'll be hard to do it with 0 DTEs. Oh yeah, we have Netflix earnings tonight. Netflix up 5% on the post market. Have the earnings even have the okay, EPS 211, 219. Okay, so they missed on EPS, beat on revenues. Interesting. I wonder what guidance is going to look like. Fubo usually does really well in after hours when Netflix runs, but I don't think it's doing all that much. It's up 1 penny. Those aren't crazy returns. That'll probably tone down with guidance. There's a bit of resistance on Netflix at 500, so I know there's some sold calls there. Paid users up is the bull case right now. Okay. It looks like the bull case is fading really quickly. But that's good news for streaming services. They've been falling behind a bit. Like up to pandemic levels or like still at 2-year lows but slightly up over the prior quarter. No, I think Netflix is really far from taking Tesla's place. Its total capitalization's like 215 billion. We're down for GME. Now OPEX is over. I mean, it's not over. There's still tomorrow morning, but yeah, it kind of looks like it. It doesn't look like there's going to be any additional covering. I mean, they haven't even shorted XRT that hard yet. So I would say probably. Streaming services solution was let's turn our model into cable TV model and sell ads. Yeah. Well, that was kind of inevitable over time, right? The more demand there was for licensing, the more people were going to charge, the more extravagant the pricing was going to get on a month-over-month basis. And so in order to maintain any semblance of competitiveness, you've got to find a way to make your monthly subscriptions cheaper. And that's really the only way to do it. If you stream on a CPU, they can't block it. Interesting. All I ever hear is how everyone's canceling their streaming services. Yeah, I always hear people talk about that, but then everyone is always like, those same people are like, oh man, did you see this thing on Netflix or HBO? Or I think a lot of people just cancel it and then sign up for a different one, but they always have one going at any given time or more. I mean, I have like 8. I have ones I pay for I don't even watch. Down at a global composite release, if services are contraction, if there's contraction in services, PMI will be devastating. I use my dad's Netflix. It won't work on the TV, but I can stream from Amazon and my computer. Also, internet TV is getting more popular. You get all the streaming stuff and live TV. I gotta cancel Verizon to try T-Mobile. They have worse service, I'll tell you that much. I'm holding my 484 puts on SPY overnight. Let's ride bears. Maybe. Why the fuck is QQQ down? Netflix up. Oh, because Netflix is just rapidly losing ground. Okay, never mind. That was interesting. RSP kind of looks like shit All right. See, so Upstart's still floating a bit above gamma neutral, I believe, and still above delta neutral. I don't know if this really found like a floor today. I know it stopped dropping when Netflix or when Nvidia finally turned around. But it looks like Nvidia's falling back down in after hours. We're gonna start seeing like a lot of these Mag 7 stocks pick up a lot of short calls here. Their vol's high, and they're all like at major psychological resistances. I know Nvidia is already picking up a shitload of short call interest at 600. Netflix was picking up a lot at 5. Tesla's picking it up a lot at 225. I think Apple at 200. Meta was at like 375, I think. Maybe not. Or maybe that already got squeezed out. I haven't looked at Meta in a couple days. Microsoft at 400. And if that builds up enough, that's gonna push the vol down on these single stock tickers and drive the dispersion trade apart, which maybe what we're seeing right now with vol is that they're kind of trying to keep index vol pressured down despite the drop in single name volatility. That's not going to last. So we'll see. But as far as positioning tomorrow goes, looks like call side straddles have largely entered and strangles. Not much on the put side yet. There's a lot of interest at 60, and then everything else is kind of choppy. Just not a ton of I guess 50, 60 are for the strangles. And then there's a little bit of call interest, 70, 75, then that breaks down. Not a lot of put interest below 50. Not yet. And then there's a call wall still down at 40 and 25. So some downside protection at 40 and 25. Straddles and strangles between 48.50 and 60. Those will persist because the data comes out after market open into the morning. Now, if the German EU PMIs are really bad, which Germany's definitely should be, but if EU's is also really bad, we might see dollar spike in the overnight. And if we see dollar spike in the overnight, we may, let's see, dollar 103 could push up to like maybe back to like 103.60 to 75. I think if we see dollar move back to like 103.75, we might get a lower open, like back closer to the 48.50 mark. Texas Instruments 1 quarter revenue forecast misses estimates, sees revenue 3.5 billion to 3.75, estimated 409, EPS 96 to 116. There have been a few misses so far. Even Netflix half missed. So I think their guidance is going to be a stronger affirmation of where that's going to open tomorrow. Who's still buying scientific calculators? They're a microprocessor manufacturer. They don't just sell calculators. They're definitely not selling $3.5 billion worth of calculators a quarter. TI-83 plus sales in the toilet. Weird that these companies are supposed to have 12% growth in quarter 4. Not a good look, especially if Tesla misses tomorrow. That's gonna weigh on expectations. But remember, nothing's really gonna matter until we hit like the big 3, right? Till we see like Apple, Google, or Apple, Microsoft, Google, or Apple, Amazon, Google. Big 4. If you had a microscope, what would you examine? I don't know. Nothing? All right, guys. Thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I'm going to write that up tonight, probably a little later. I'm going to trade futures for a bit. Later, everybody.